Idiots, obstacles to finding true love. One. Is it over there? Greetings, fellow idiots. So, the million-dollar question. Will the idiot ever find true love? Now, what do we mean by true love? As I'm now in my 5th decade, I have a very simple definition of true love. Very, very simple. And this is somebody who also works as a couples therapist for my sins, believe it or not. Not only as a couples therapist, God, if I were to just do couples therapy, just that, I would drive myself crazy, because there is nothing as kind of crazy and, yeah, just crazy as couples. Crazy and lovely, but also crazy. So the million-dollar question is, likes wearing Crocs, but only the navy blue ones. So true love, simple definition. True love is finding a person who likes all the nice stuff that you as a human creature have, and can tolerate the not so nice stuff, can tolerate, let's say, some of the shadow. And by the shadow, I'm not talking about, cutting the wings off little birds. That would be a psychopathic shadow. Maybe not even psychopathic shadow. Little psychopath there just gave me a little toot on the horn. Like, yeah, that's me. Woo! Psychopathic shadow. There's my psychopathic shadow. No, I'm just talking about, just being a generally annoying human being. And we all are. We're all idiots. We're all just generally annoying human beings. But that does not always go down well. And the older one gets, even with, and I would say an okay profile on Hinge. I'm gonna share with you my profile on Hinge. I mean, is it there? Is it there? I don't know. It's somewhere, right? Let's say it's there. I've been working on this profile for a few years. It went live a few years ago. It's not like I've been working on it, like, we're just going to release it and then the women of this world will flock to me. No. I released it a few years ago after my last relationship ended with her telling me that I was an idiot and then kind of breaking things off. And the main idiocy that I was guilty of, guilty as charged, was that 4-9 transpolar express, whatever he calls it, very informative. I have a soft spot for 9s. So, so I thought I would ask the ye today this question. Because even after a few years on Hinge, going on the odd date here or there, it ain't happening. So let's do this. Today is a bit of a sad day because I broke my Tai Chi. one of my precious Yarrow stalks. I was moving the book, and the book caught the edge of the stalk, and there you go. Well done, idiot. So I'm going to put an elastoplast on that. I'm literally going to put a plaster on that, because I guess that's kind of how we all are. We're all a little bit wonky. But that's okay. You can kind of put a plaster there, and then people can go, oh, you've got a plaster. What's wrong with you? So, all right. There's my wounded healer, as who came up with that? Jung, someone like that. There's the wounded healer Taiji. Well, at least I now know who's the Taiji. I mean, it's the wonky one. It's the one who's going to later on have some elastoplast wrapped around him or her. And this is the mythical beloved, the beloved who really, really wants to be, for all the right reasons, with that wounded healer. Let's do this. Let's do this, baby. Get some incense going. Whoa.
Blessing. Shining flower stalks. Look at that. I actually have some shining flower activated for him growing in the garden. Quite naturally just sprouted up here. That's right, my little chums. One day, when you grow up, you may be as wondrous and beautiful and useful as these. But only if you're really, really good. Okay, here we go. Only the good Yarrow get to become shining flower stalks. And all the rest then get melted into compost. Sorry. Well, not sorry. Probably the superior outcome. Okay, here we go.
Okie dokie, the Yi has spoken. I'm not sure how much of my Yarrow stick maneuvering got captured because the idiot forgot to delete all the previous videos of the iPad in order to record new videos, and so, you know.
You forgot to read the list.
What's that?
You forgot to read the list.
Yes, true. That's true. I forgot to read the list.
That I wrote for us.
Yes, yes. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, that's right. And the other thing the idiot who recorded the beginning of the intro forgot to do was to read this list that you wrote 10 minutes ago, right? Called The Idiot's Obstacles to Finding True Love. So I thought, okay, well, what are the obstacles? You know, like, I've got an okay Hinge profile. What are the obstacles? And I came up with 10. I'm sure there's more. I will try and generate a more thoughtful list, but these are just sort of off the top of my head. So, idiot's obstacles to finding true love, and then I'll do the big reveal. Number 1, likes wearing Crocs, but only the navy blue ones. Although, saying that, I would so love to have a pair of the Jacob Collier Crocs, the limited edition Jacob Collier Crocs. I envy for those. And I could probably buy a pair for about 500 quid on eBay, but... and why are Crocs not... Crocs, why are you not just keeping on making those and selling them and maybe at like £10 more and just making a killing? I don't know. If I was running Crocs, that's what I would do. I would just...
Yes, Lord, like you living on a prayer. Play too much, baby, come here. We peeking.
Duh. Number 2, enjoys one-on-ones but otherwise finds people, even just the sight of them, I can't read my own handwriting, enjoys one-on-ones but otherwise finds people, even just the sight of them in parks and whatnot, a drag and something of an eyesore. Misanthrope. Not to be confused, misanthrope, not to be confused with misophonic. I don't know if that's a word. From misophonia. Oh, now it's flashing low battery. Of course. Oh, yeah. All right, maybe we'll get to the end. Oh, man. You see, Max, why didn't the idiot charge up his iPad before doing this? Because he's an idiot. Okay. Note to self, charge iPad. Misophonic, loves silence, finds the sounds of car engines, even when not at close proximity, enraging. People yapping in public about their people stuff. Ditto. Aeroplanes, you know, where's my cannon? The giddy, yelping merriment of children at play. You know that sort of sound with, like, when you walk past a school playground and they're all like, "Wah!" Most people are like, oh, kids playing, oh, they're playing football, oh, they're playing hopscotch. This idiot's like, Number 4, melancholic. Can be cheery and upbeat, quite often, in fact, in the right company or when, that thing's recording. But otherwise, drawn to the pathos, beauty, and general absurd sadness of living in a consciousness that knows all this. Death, climate change, Donald Trump, slaughtering and torturing animals to turn them into chicken wings, etc. And can do nothing about it. Number 5, lives in London, hates London. But when I moved here, I don't know, 20 years ago, salsa, that was the salsa idiot. Number 6, thinks restaurants are weird and unnecessary. Like, Why? Why the need? I mean, I get it's hardwired into us, sitting in groups and eating and all of that malarkey. But why would I want to go somewhere and be surrounded by people and have their kind of chit chat, and then I can't really focus on my food or the other person because they're yabba 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 yabba, and then this person comes to the table, everything okay? So that immediately rules me out for about 80% of the women on Hinge. Number 7, fascinated and obsessed with a few topics and mainly just wants to blah blah about those. Enneagram, I Ching, nature, books, literature, poetry, Daoism. I've got about like a handful of things that I really, really want to yap about, and all the rest of it can go and drown. Hates small talk. But a certain kind of small talk, like if we were to do like some small talk around, like if we were to spend like an hour talking about Satya Sai Baba Nagchampa's Agarbati, who are the sponsors, just to remind you, of this little channel. If we were to do like an hour of talk about that in a slightly autistic fashion, thumbs up. Can be very, very nice, but also can be not intentionally, not always intentionally, sometimes a little bit intentionally, but not always intentionally, can be an asshole. And in fact, you put those two words together, you get nice asshole, which I am forever grateful to Drew Newkirk, fellow Sexual 4, Enneagram Sexual 4, who I think wrote the best profile, because it's sort of not like terribly damning. I mean, it's somewhat damning, but not hopelessly damning profile of the Sexual 4. Drew, are you partnered up at the moment? But then you've got, here's the 4 envy, but you've got the New York apartment and you've got the tats and you go, okay, forget that. Okay, so of course you're partnered up, Drew. But maybe not, Sexual 4. Anyway, I'll do a link to that. That's, I wish I could just have that video as like my Hinge profile.
We can be comforting and challenging at the same time, discomforting and hopeful at the same time. We could be the nicest asshole. We can be the most other-centered narcissists.
These two hands always end up on the small of your back. Should I ask if eyes can go there?
At least self-involved. Understand those crooked lanes, that deep labyrinth, where they feel broken, misunderstood, angry, possessive, that ugliness they feel inside. Maybe you feel inside.
That would work. I would get literally 0 swipes. Drew would get a lot of swipes. Drew would get lots of subscribers. Envy, 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 envy. But I would get nothing. My current profile is doing quite well. I get maybe, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 swipes a week. Yeah, something like that. Which is good for me. Number 9, doesn't eat meals at the same time as everyone else. I don't see the point of eating if you're not hungry. And so sometimes I'll have breakfast at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I mean, there's a trendy term for it now, isn't there? What's it called, Max? It's a trendy term for that. Answers in the comments. Yeah, that's tricky. I do wonder, and I do of course say this to myself to put a little bit of balm on my wounded ego. Enneagram 9s to the max to the hilt. And number 10 considers non-human animals on the whole to be superior citizens of this planet, and generally more pleasant to spend time with. And there, I guess, I'm not that weird. There's lots of people who have come to that conclusion. It's just that I like talking to people. I like saying, "Hey, how was your day?" And I know how Max's day was. Max's day is always pretty good, you know, apart from bumping into a few things. Yeah, Maxie Jax? Jubba, jubba, jubba. Okay. So, what's the answer? What's the answer, Yi? Well, of course, it's the taming power of the small.
Hello, idiot. Remember that poem you learnt a few years back, the one you concocted based on the Buddha's fire sermon? Can you still recite it off by heart?
All is ardour, burning ablaze. Eye is ardour, ear is ardour, nose, lips, tongue ardour, mind ardour, body ardour, burning, burning, burning away. Sound burning, scent burning, taste burning, touch burning, incandescent bonfires burning, burning pleasure, burning pain, either, neither, burning away. Feel the fire that burns through this hour. Passion fire, aversion fire, delusion fire, all ablaze. Birth and death and aging fires, burning, burning, burning away. Contact, feeling, craving, takes us, calls to the awakened soul. Know, then free yourself from ardour. Find some peace while burning away.
Initially, you wanted to learn the sermon as it's found in the Adittapariyaya Sutta itself, although there, much of the poetry of it, at least in the English translations, has been bled out over 25 centuries in order to make it fit some kind of chanting scheme, the only way to remember any wisdom in those days. And so it was passed down orally, I believe, for about 400 years, passed on from one renunciant to the next until it came into writing just over 2,000 years ago as part of what we now call the Pali Canon. Well, surely this sexual 4 ego cage is the most ardour-filled and thus burning of all 27 ego cage subtypes. So let's not confuse that ardour with love. You know, as soon as you read out the title of the hexagram, The Power of the Small, before I even had a moment to remember the shape and substance of it, I immediately saw a couple of images or iconic archetypal representations speaking to its essence, later verified when I re-watched the video of you doing your thing. The first archetypal image being Max, your blind in sight but radiant in heart, beloved companion Max. Let's not fall into misguided anthropocentric distinctions here, idiot. Max's love is true as the truest friendship, just as yours is true for him, perhaps truer. A great deal more true, I would say, than even the most nuanced and Esther Perel-esque manifestation of lovey-dovey, coupley romance. As I watch you out there on noisy Friand Way with your favourite forms of transport streaming past, it strikes me that we humans are not that dissimilar to cars. The driver, which is to say the soul or the spirit or our consciousness or what have you, is this tender, vulnerable, poetic being who is sometimes revealed to themselves, or maybe their therapists, but usually everyone else, including their partners, for the most part, get that somewhat armoured, defensive, hardened, egoic vehicle, trundling or speeding along its designated, predominantly determined trajectory with very little genuine inner freedom for how to think or feel or act. Couples are mostly two cars driving in tandem or one following the other in some way. But the soul inside the car is usually so well defended, so encased and shielded, that it is often impossible to truly connect with it for longer than a few seconds or a few minutes at most. This is the equivalent of someone rolling their window down, making a couple of comments on your actions before driving off. But look at this vessel of yarrow that you are collecting. All plants, insects, birds, fungi and microbes, in fact, everything around you that is living and dying, as you are too right now, has no need for this car-like encasement. The everything and nothing of the natural world, nothing in our eyes until we can use it for our own purposes seems to be the case, is open and receptive and trusting and vulnerable. This is the route to true love. Remember that YouTube video that came up in your feed from Orion Taraban about a year ago when you were still profoundly immersed in that stupid 27-month stint of sackcloth and ashes following on from Natalia's departure? An incredibly important message for you and other lovelorn idiots to hear and remember, distinguishing between the transactional nature of all relationships, including the really good ones, and true love. I'll link to that in the description of this episode. I suggest you watch that again whenever you need to remind yourself that love is not bound by rules or definitions, whereas relationships are. Love does not expect anything in return. Love puts the other before our own selfish or self-focused needs. Love, as Taraban poetically puts it, is the humiliated self, exultant. Or to say this in the language of the Tao, which is also the language of poetry, love is apart from all things. Desire and fulfillment are nothing beside it. Neither body nor mind can truly love, even if they try to lead us there. What is not love provokes them. What is not love quenches them. Love lays hold of everything that we hold dear, but we are not able to hold onto it. Passion is one of its many paths, but passion does not bring us to love. Desire opens the castle of our spirit so that we might find there the inner mystery of love, hidden, intangible, silent. Love does not last, but it is different from the passions that do not last. Love lasts by not lasting. Isaiah said, each of us walks in our own fire for our sins. Only love allows us to walk in that sweet, transitory music of our pained and particular hearts. And love gets tested, as yours has been tested with regard to Max, tested when the beloved is growling and snarling and baring their teeth, which of course, in animal-human as well as human-animal parlance, is only being displayed to signify, I'm a vulnerable and occasionally upset or disturbed creature, just like you. Please don't hurt me. Please be kind to me, even when I am growling and upset. This is an impossible task for most, if not all of us, with our so-called beloveds. Being ignorant and unenlightened humans as we mostly are, the moment when another expresses displeasure towards us is the very moment when all so-called romantic or platonic love is often extinguished and may even subsequently wither and die on the vine like those overripe grapes that often denote Eros in classical mythology. True love is not a thank you. True love is not convenient or comfortable. Love will destroy you, idiot. In fact, love must destroy you, and so it has, in its own weird way. You will have to think of something or someone more than you do yourself. Love is not a warm, cozy feeling. Love is found in solitude. Love is found in defeat, heartbreak, abandonment. Love is found in the gutters. But as Oscar Wilde put it, love is always in the gutters, but looking at the stars. Love is the humiliated self, exultant. And for this reason, thanks to the Tao, love can be found always and plentifully, mostly outside of romantic or even platonic relationships. Love is in the very air we breathe, my idiotic friend. Love is the food we eat and the shelter we seek when the elements are harsh and unforgiving towards us. Love is this mortal and marred creature called Max, and love is this mortal and marred creature called Steve. It's interesting, isn't it, that whenever you ask a question to the Yi pertaining to relationships, Hexagram 9 is often the answer. One of the central tenets of Daoism is that us human idiots have everything, kind of the wrong way round. The Dao, which we might equally refer to as true love, writes Lao Tzu in the Dao De Jing, translated by Stephen Mitchell, can't be perceived. Smaller than an electron, it contains uncountable galaxies. Both Daoism and Buddhism dwell on the idea that what the human idiot perceives as significant or insignificant is often illusory. In chapter 11 of the Dao De Jing, Lao Tzu writes, "We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use." This paradoxical thinking also extends to the natural world, where microbes, often invisible to the naked eye, drive processes essential for life, such as decomposition and nitrogen fixation. Or take Heisenberg's uncertainty principle and all the rest of quantum mechanics, where even the smallest particles behave differently when observed, pointing to the profound interconnectedness of the observer and the one who is being listened to or watched. The Dao of Love, we might say, invites us to reconsider our place, not just in the realm of relationships, but in the universe, recognizing that the seemingly small and insignificant, like, you out there today collecting yarrow stalks and frying away so as to make some divination sets to give to friends or loved ones who might enjoy using them, this can wield immense influence, while the ostensibly great and powerful form of love, searching for the so-called one on a dating app, are often built on fragile foundations. Remember that David Whyte poem which Meg once suggested you learn off by heart when that was your foundational loving practice? The poem that you struggled with at the time because it was perhaps just a tad too on point for the strictures or the structures of your ego cage. Let's perhaps return to that poem for a moment and give a reading of it through the lens of this hexagram. In fact, why not let's get David Whyte to recite it for us?
Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone. Your great mistake is to act the drama as if you were alone. As if life were a progressive and cunning crime with no witness to the tiny hidden transgressions. To feel abandoned is to deny the intimacy of your surroundings. Surely even you at times have felt the grand array, the swelling presence, and the chorus crowding out your solo voice. You must note the way the soap dish enables you, or the window latch grants you courage. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. Alertness is the hidden discipline of familiarity. The stairs are your mentor of things to come. The doors have always been there to frighten you and invite you. And the tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. The tiny speaker in the phone is your dream ladder to divinity. Put down the weight of your aloneness and ease into the conversation. The kettle is singing even as it pours you a drink. The cooking pots have left their arrogant aloofness and seen the good in you at last. All the birds and creatures of the world are unutterably themselves. Everything is waiting for you.
The title of this poem, as well as its last line, "Everything is waiting for you," would suggest to our forecasting minds that the good stuff is yet to come. Everything is waiting for you. Waiting. That's what minds do. Wait often with frustration and impatience for something or someone to come along that will enliven or even save us in some way. But a more Taoist reading of this poem would suggest that this everything is nothing and vice versa. And the waiting that is being referred to is really just a kind of living death. Which is to say, in no uncertain terms, my dear idiot, that all the promise of the waiting mind, if you can just see it and feel it and experience it, for only when doing this, really, does the magic happen. Which is to say, the perceived nothing or no one or that anticipated event which we are waiting for alchemically begins to transform into a being or some kind of essence who has no need to wait for a significant other or for validation, completion, fulfillment, because he or she already has the nothing and the everything of this weird and wonderful conscious human existence available to them in every waking moment. It's such a big, dumb cliche, we know that, but it's also true. So let's acknowledge this, just between you and me, that this is true love.